graduated from college, my parents were so proud. Both of my parents were pharmacists from Bulgaria. After I was born, we all moved to America as refugees. We settled in the Bay Area of California, and they had 5 more sisters and brothers for me. The health trajectory of our family life was a big part of growing up. My mother would always say, if you do not take care of your health, no one else will. My dad would say, if you lose your health, you cannot buy it back. They wanted all of us to study pharmacology when we went to college. I was not that chemically oriented, but preferred to study cosmetology or even music. I told them I would apply to one pharmacy school, and if I did not get accepted, I would become a beautician. Somehow I did get accepted. It was to the pharmacy school in San Francisco during the peak street drug and LSD era of Haight-Ashbury, 2 blocks from my pharmacy training. Even so, I was not chemically oriented, but learned how drugs worked in restoring lab values, not necessarily health. They would often counter the stress impact on blood pressure, heart rate, cholesterol, cancer, headaches, and insomnia, to name a few. Drugs in general are linear. Biology works in a cycle. Breathe in, then out. Sleep, then wake up. During my early years of hospital pharmacy, 1 to 3 new drugs would enter the market each year. As time progressed, there would be 1 to 2 new drugs that came out each week. It was a booming explosion. I decided to take a new health trajectory by becoming a sales rep. The doctors needed to be trained on how all these new drugs worked. That was when I fell short on my monthly quotas. I became so stressed out on my performance that I developed chest pains and gastritis. When I went to the doctor, he gave me 5 drugs to take for cramping, acid reflux, chest pains, palpitations, and insomnia. It was such a mess because none of them worked. After a month of taking all those drugs daily, I adopted an unconventional approach. I stopped all of them. As a pharmacist myself, I would never recommend that a patient does that. However, I realized that none of those medications could change my mind. My own stress was making me sick. I realized that my thoughts of what other people were saying about my performance was causing my problem. One Friday night, I decided to spend the entire weekend in creating my joy with music, singing, dance, nature, and gardening. Plants and rocks never complained about my performance. They both yelled, "Come as you are." I knew inside my thoughts of the disapproval from others were making me sick. Those medications could not change my mind. From then on out, it was a day-by-day process of slowly letting the disapprovals roll off while building my sales competencies. That is when I learned the impact of stress on my life. I also learned the value of breathing, movement, and mindset as access to our internal pharmacy. Breathing and the release of nitric oxide and vagal nerve alignment did wonders for my chest pains and anxiety during rush hour traffic. Movement in the form of heel lifts and wall push-ups raised my heart rate enough to decongest my stuffy nose and circumvent the need for coffee to wake me up. Creating my joy in the little hurdles of life kept me focused and energized for the next challenge. After 25 years of selling and winning new clients, I transitioned to retail pharmacy. You would think a retail pharmacist would be a mellow position. Not so. I learned how my breathing techniques helped me de-stress when I was held at gunpoint for narcotics. That type of stress is difficult to beat. When you feel stressed, ask yourself, am I breathing deeply enough? Moving enough? What are my judgments in this moment? We can learn to laugh for no reason. The Italians have a saying used by centenarians. La vita è bella sur la guarda bene. Life is beautiful when we see the good. We can learn to ignite the personal pharmacy we all have inside by breathing, movement, and mindset. With this health trajectory, our body can auto-regulate to succeed in creating your joy. Remember, la vita è bella sur la guarda bene. Life is beautiful when we see the good.